Well, today we are gonna work on the 6-liter Power Stroke transmission cooler upgrade for the 7.3. The stock cooler from this is real small, and I know this is a pretty popular swap, so a lot of people have already know how to do this, but I'm just gonna document some of it. So we have I got this off Craigslist. It's a 6-liter, I think it's out of a 2005 transmission cooler, and then I have some half-inch hose because this has bigger fittings on it, and then these are 3/8 to half-inch tubing fittings that I made into an adapter. I ordered these nice small ones off of eBay because I liked how thin they were. But when I got them, they're not, it says 1/2 inch to 3/8, but these just fit loose in there. That's never going to seal up even with a good clamp on it. I don't know why, but these ones from Lowe's are a nice snug fit. You got to push them in there, so then when they clamp them, there's actually something to clamp to. So I'm pretty disappointed. I paid like 10 bucks for these. I got 2 of them, and they don't fit. I didn't try the 3/8 end yet because I haven't had the stock cooler out of the truck yet, but the 1/2 inch size, if I measured it with a micrometer, and it's not even 500 thousandths, so these are 550 thousandths, so I don't know, so be careful which ones you get. I also got a magnetic inline filter. I got the 1/2 inch size so it'll flow better, and I'll put it on the section of hose that's the larger size. I know some people don't like these, but they're fine as long as you don't forget to change them. So you know, I have to change them every now and then. You can't just leave them on there. I think that's why some people have had problems with them. So we'll get started pulling the old one out of there and go from there. Okay, it's kind of hard to see. You have to remove the power steering cooler bracket, 2 8mm bolts, and then I tucked it up on a track bar. And then I'm removing the 2 lower bolts for the 7.3 cooler. They are 8mm also, so you have one there, one there. The truck has an aftermarket bumper, obviously, so the rubber skirting was already gone. You would need to take that off. And a lot of people remove the grill to get to, there's 2 more 8mm bolts behind the air conditioning condenser. So I have a space because of how this bumper fits, and I made this conglomeration. So let's see if that gets in there. Alright, the passenger side came out much easier. I don't know if you can see that. Those threads are fine. The driver's side, it was rusty, and the threads are pretty jacked, so I'll probably try to find a different bolt to use on that side and maybe replace that clip that's in there. So everything is rustier on the driver's side on this truck, so just be careful not to break them off, because that will be a pain with everything up in there to have a broken bolt. Well, this video did not really go as I had intended. I started pulling the factory cooler, and I did everything I've seen online, and it wouldn't come down, so I started looking up in there more with a flashlight, and here the previous owner had installed an auxiliary cooler with what looks like an aftermarket bracket, because everything, it's not homemade, but it attaches up underneath here at the radiator support, and there's a cooler that's probably about half this size, you know, half of that panel up above the factory cooler behind the AC condenser. So it looks like they did a pretty good job. Like I said, it looks like an aftermarket bracket with a cooler, and it's plumbed into the lines. So I'm not really sure what I'm going to do now. I may just leave that because I'm going to have to pull the grill and the condenser and this shroud to be able to get, because there's bolts up on top that hold that cooler in. So it's like 90 degrees out here, and I don't feel like taking it out. So that makes me happy that at least there was a cooler in there, and it looks properly installed. So I don't know what I'm gonna do with this stuff now. Got a decision to make. If I want to tear it apart and put that cooler in and the filter and the lines, or just run it the way it is. I feel kind of dumb for not checking it, but I did look, and I could see the original stock 7.3 cooler in there, and I just assumed it was untouched. So I've only had this truck a couple months and I don't know much about it, but so that just goes to show, check what you have before you start buying stuff and you know, making modifications. So somebody already modified this. They did a good job, it looks like. So now I just have to decide if I want to switch to the 6.0 cooler, or maybe sell that and do something else with the money. I don't know. So for now I'm just gonna run it because I have other things to do, and I'm sweating to death out here in the garage. So that's it for now. Sorry it didn't go as planned. It looks like it would have been a very simple install. The one website I saw said plan 4 to 6 hours to do this job. I think that's nuts. I think it would have taken me about an hour if I had just done it the way I had planned. So but yeah, definitely look at what you got before you tear into stuff. So yeah, guess that's it. Till next time, talk to you later. It's been a few days now, and I finally made a decision. I decided to pull the cooler out. I told you how there was an aftermarket cooler in here, and I was kind of back and forth on just leaving that in or putting the 6.0 cooler in, and I decided, since I had all this stuff and I didn't really know for sure what was going on with that other one, I'm going to pull it out and just do this 6.0 cooler. It's more simple because there's no you know, with this aftermarket one, it's piggybacked off the stock one, and it's a lot of small lines, so it probably doesn't flow that great, and there's no filter on it. So we're going to add the 6.0 cooler and the magnetic filter. So I'm halfway out here. I've got part of it out, but I got to unhook the lines. So I'll show you what it all looks like once I get it out, and we'll go from there. So hopefully I made the right choice. I don't think it's really going to make that much of a difference, but at least I'll know what's in there and what's going on. Finally got it out. It was not very fun. I got stuff in my eyes and made a big mess, but it's out now. So here is what was in there. You can see the 7.3 original, you know, factory cooler, and then this little piggyback aftermarket cooler. There's no name or anything on it, just a universal cooler. So here is the 6.0 cooler that I'm going to put in. So let me know in the comments whether you think this was an upgrade from this. I don't know if combined, more surface area. I still think that's a little bigger and probably more reliable, because like I said, I'm going to have 2 connections versus 4. So that's just less places to leak, less hose clamps. I also didn't like these little, they use like sheet metal screws here, and they were basically touching the air conditioning condenser, so I had to hold that out of the way. So over time, I mean, it's probably been in there for a long time and it's been fine, and it was rubbing here right on the condenser, so it's just one less thing to possibly go wrong. I sealed up my fittings. I don't use Teflon tape. I found it doesn't hold up well to certain liquids. I've been using this 2+2 pipe sealant, and this is it says specifically on here it's good for petroleum, but this is one of the only ones that I found that works good on diesel fuel too. So I keep it around. It works good on high temp stuff. So this is made by Rector Seal 2+2 or T+2. Yeah, so just read the back, and their website's good. It tells you all the stuff it's good for, because some of it, I've used other stuff with diesel fuel and oil and it does not work, but this stuff works well. Finally finished. Got it pulled out of the garage, so I'll try to show you a little bit. I don't know if you can see in there or not. So there's the magnetic inline filter. When I had everything unhooked, I did crank it for a second to make sure I had the direction right, because I wanted it filtered. The filter is directional, but I also wanted to make sure the fluid going into the transmission was filtered, because this is a used cooler, so I have no idea what the transmission was like that it came out of. So if there's any little metal bits in there, I'm hoping that filter catches it. You know, there's also the filter in the actual transmission itself, but I just wanted to try to help as much as I could. Kind of hard to get under here. I tried to use as much of the 1/2 inch line as I could, because I figured the bigger the line the better. So I only have about 2 inches of 3/8 line, and then I have my 1/2 inch 3/8 adapters, and then it goes right into the cooler, the 6-liter cooler. So it's kind of hard to see in there. So I hope it's an upgrade over that aftermarket combination setup with the stock 7.3 cooler, because it was a bit of a pain. Definitely didn't take 4 to 6 hours like the Mishimoto website says. So maybe it's because that's a different cooler, but I would say if you have 2 hours, you could safely get it done, especially if you don't have, it took me longer because I had that aftermarket cooler attached there. I had to take the shroud off the top and pop the grill out and move the condenser to be able to get to those bolts. So that's it, it's all done now. So hopefully, I don't know, if that was at least interesting for you. I need to get a gauge on there so I can see what my temperatures are actually doing, to make sure it was, you know, actually doing its job. If this video was helpful to you, or you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing. I try to update with some tech videos here and there, along with our other silly stuff. So hit that button, and hopefully you can stick around and learn something or get a laugh out of our channel. So thanks for watching.